Welcome back. Last week we went over rankings 50 through 26, where considering incredible rides such as The Beast, Tower of Terror, and Skyrush did not make it in my top 25, these 25 attractions are going to be some of the best in the industry. Just like how I went over last week, typically most enthusiasts rank their top coasters, and while roller coasters make up a huge part of this list, some of the best dark rides can be just as great, if not better than some of the best roller coasters Intamin, RMC, and B&M can cook up. A slight spoiler, my number one spot is not even a roller coaster. Now, let's get into some of the best rides and attractions the theme and amusement park industry has to offer as we rank the top 25 of the more than 700 rides I've been on. Kicking off the top 25, and it just goes to show you that this is not your typical roller coaster enthusiast list, where a highly themed Disney attraction outranks some behemoths that stand over 300 feet tall. Expedition Everest at Walt Disney World's best park, Animal Kingdom. Expedition Everest, however, is a lot more subtle in its storytelling, using the environment around you to guide you on this dangerous journey. Beginning in the queue, you look and see all the Nepalese decor surrounding the temple. You end in a museum dedicated to the Yeti, telling you that the journey you have been hired on via the tea company to make a shortcut through the Forbidden Mountain maybe isn't the best idea. Of course, you pay no attention to that and board your steam train and begin heading towards the Forbidden Mountain. You start with a peaceful ride through the train before starting to climb up the mountain. This intersects the thrilling section where you find the track ripped up by the Yeti and encounter the first high-speed track switch on a layout, and you begin to enter the mountain backwards. This section is actually pretty forceful, amplified by the darkness, so when you finally level out, you see a silhouette of the Yeti on top of you. Now, you begin the high-speed finale as you speed down the mountain, and the expertly crafted audio makes it sound like the Yeti is breathing down your neck. Expedition Everest is such a masterpiece almost 20 years later, and it's something I always have to do when I get to Animal Kingdom. From an attraction that is elevated to such a high ranking due to their masterclass in theming and storytelling, for number 24, we return to just pure thrills with Diamondback at Kings Island. This is one that has grown on me a lot over the years, especially since moving to Cincinnati and being able to lap this B&M. In short, this thing is packed with incredible airtime that most other B&M hypers don't quite hit. Diamondback, on the other hand, has very powerful moments of airtime, especially in the first half of the layout. Located in the lush and green Kings Island, you mainly spend your time floating out of your seat, diving between the trees. The first drop is outstanding, giving you your first pop of fantastic airtime. However, the first massive airtime delivers a borderline moment of ejector airtime in the back and front rows. You keep this powerful airtime going into the second hill until you hit the first trim, where it does dial it back a little bit. You get more fantastic moments of floater airtime as you hop your way back to Rivertown, up a helix, and hit a scenic and amazing looking splashdown finale. One final note about this amazing B&M is that while its neighbor is more famous for its night rides, if you're running low on time, I highly recommend that you get a lap of Diamondback at night. From the first hill onward, it's pitch black and it's almost as out of control of a ride as the Beast is once darkness overtakes Kings Island. From one ride that gives moments of borderline ejector airtime to one that is packed full of powerful ejector is one of RMC's most recent creations, Wildcat's Revenge. Wildcat's Revenge is a combination of what RMC does best, giving a wild and powerful layout. From the first drop giving a dose of fantastic ejector in the back row, into the strange but fun massive underflip, you start out with a bang. You blast into a very powerful camelback hill, giving the strongest moment of airtime on the ride. The wave turn gives another moment of powerful airtime while you are horizontal to the horizon, and is such a unique experience that RMC has mastered this rare but unique feeling. Another one of my all-time favorite moments on any RMC is their stalls. That feeling of hanging upside down for a few seconds with just a lap bar is one of the craziest moments you can feel on any coaster, and Wildcat's Revenge is one of the best hang time moments you can get. After another wave turn, you hit another one of my favorite moments an RMC can deliver, their zero-G roll. Overall, I feel that Wildcat's Revenge is a mix of all of RMC's best designed elements. While none of these elements are the best versions of themselves, having them all together in one coaster does deliver one amazing package of a roller coaster. RMC is incredible in what they do, and their next addition on this list is a perfect example of them doing something unique and mastering it. Twisted Colossus. Back in 2015, when RMC was still very new on the block, they were extremely ambitious, delivering a dueling layout with the insane layout RMC is known to deliver. Unlike the original coaster, Twisted Colossus is a Mobius looping layout, meaning that you get two rides in one. When dispatched properly, you get a duel with the other train going through identical or similar elements that complement complement each other incredibly well. From the high five element, zero-G rolls over each other, and one of my favorite elements of all time, the Top Gun stall. Mimicking the iconic shot from the original film, on the blue side you hit a powerful ejector hill, while on the green side you invert, giving one crazy moment where you interact with the train just feet away from you. The one downside to this design is if you are unable to get a perfectly timed duel, it does subtract a lot to the layout where it is just taunting you. Thankfully, on my most recent visit in January, I got a duel on 2 out of my 3 rides I got, so hopefully its reputation is improving to deliver what we all came here to ride. Heading right down I-5, you head to another Southern California staple and end up back at Knott's for their incredible wooden coaster, Ghostrider. CCI really delivered an incredible layout back in 1998. However, over the years the coaster got rougher and rougher and delivered a more unbearable ride. Thankfully, Knott's decided to do a full retracking and bring the coaster back to its former glory in 2016. Ghostrider now delivers an out-of-control and insane ride while giving as smooth of a ride you can get on a wooden coaster. The first half is filled with large airtime hills, giving fantastic floater airtime. You pick up decent speed as you blast over the hills, out and back, before heading back over the station. While fun, the ride does feel like you are in control while getting those long sustained moments of floater airtime. However, you quickly round the bend and fly past the mid-course brake run, and that is where Ghostrider becomes one of the best wooden coasters in the world. In the back, you get incredible ejectors. You now feel fully out of control, blasting through the structure. Each and every hill now delivers a short but powerful pop of airtime. Right before the final brakes, you take one final turn, mostly unbanked, giving one of the best moments of laterals on a wooden coaster. It is amazing how retracking and getting new trains was able to elevate this coaster to one of the best wooden coasters in the world. Cracking in their top 20 is one of the best themed roller coasters on the planet, Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. I cannot believe this massive mile-of-track coaster managed to fit inside a show building. When it comes to using special effects on a roller coaster, it doesn't get better than Cosmic Rewind. From the pre-show, you can tell this attraction is so well thought out. You begin with rising up into the show building, passing tons of special effects, going through wormholes, and other unique things while flying through space. Your vehicles spin around to bring you up close to the Celestial, where you launch backwards into the layout. Of course, with this being a Guardians of the Galaxy attraction, music is a key focal point to the roller coaster. I cannot believe how long this ride lasts as you pass through so many incredible things as you are flying through space. It truly does feel like a modern day Space Mountain. Cosmic Rewind is the most expensive roller coaster ever built, estimated at $500 million, and you can see how every last penny was used, sparing no expense. Cosmic Rewind is truly an attraction that you have to experience for yourself, and I'm so glad Epcot has a true S-tier attraction in their already fantastic lineup. Heading down the road and probably ruffling a few feathers considering it's not ranked a little higher is Iron Gwazi at Busch Gardens Tampa. Now, I must state that Iron Gwazi is still a 9.8 out of 10 ride. This thing is still relentless and incredible. I just felt a little let down that Iron Gwazi did not battle for some of my top spots. However, I would be lying to state I didn't have some incredible rides on this hyper RMC. Standing at 206 feet tall and hitting 76 miles an hour on a 91-degree first drop is exhilarating. Hitting that outer bank turn, giving a powerful dose of ejector airtime, the death roll is one of the greatest inversions ever made, giving tons of whip as you pick up speed blasting through the zero-G roll. The first half of Iron Gwazi is damn near flawless. The second half is still very good with a quick stall, a few wave turns giving more powerful ejector airtime. However, I do wish Iron Gwazi did end a little bit more on a bang with this helix, but regardless, Iron Gwazi is still a phenomenal coaster, just not quite hitting the strides of one of the greatest coasters ever built for myself. For number 18, I might be considered a little insane having given this relaxing attraction ranked higher than Iron Gwazi, but screw it, it's my list, and that is Kilimanjaro Safaris at Disney's Animal Kingdom. First off, Disney absolutely nailed the aspect of what it feels like to go on a safari in Tanzania and shrunk down to a small 22-minute bite-sized version. As someone who has done 2 real safaris, getting to experience and feel the animals so close to you is something that Imagineers completely nailed. The Imagineers masterfully built barriers that are either out of sight or blend into the natural elements. From either riding past black or white rhinos, giraffes, elephants, cheetah, hippos, Nile crocodiles, lions, and so many more amazing animals, Kilimanjaro Safaris really nailed what Animal Kingdom is all about. What truly elevates this attraction is how no two safaris are ever the same, thanks to the animals wandering the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. As an ex-driver for the Harambe Wildlife Reserve, Kilimanjaro Safaris does hold a very special place in my heart, and I have to admit probably elevates this attraction higher than most people would. However, this attraction is so well engineered and brings you as close to Mother Nature as possible, and for those of you who are not able to hop onto a plane to Kenya or Tanzania, Disney's Animal Kingdom is the next best thing to bring you as close as possible to some of the planet's most incredible animals. Number 17 brings us one of the most important and influential attractions to open up in the past 25 years. This ride single-handedly propelled the theme park giants to attempt to outdo each other, building some of the most elaborate and expansive theme park lands in the world. Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey. Opening up the rest of Hogsmeade at the Wizarding World of Harry Potter in 2010, Forbidden Journey took what was already considered a second-tier Universal and propelled them to becoming the powerhouse and true competitor to Disney they are today. The attraction itself is extremely revolutionary, using KUKA robotic arms as a ride vehicle where you are brought right up to props and an ingenious design to use screen projections organically with domes rotating with the arms. Being transported as a Muggle for a tour of the amazing and iconic Hogwarts Castle, you come face to face with dragons, Death Eaters, and a ton of other amazing moments from the iconic franchise. Forbidden Journey is truly an iconic attraction that inspired not only Universal itself to step up their game, but Disney as well, with developing truly state-of-the-art attractions and hyper-immersive themed lands. Epic Universe, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, and Pandora the World of Avatar would not exist today if it were not for Universal Creative knocking it out of the park with one of the greatest theme park attractions ever built. While Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey kickstarted a theme park renaissance with its incredibly innovative design and execution, it can be outdone, even by its own IP just a few hundred yards away, with Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure. While the name is a terrible mouthful, this Intamin 7-launch highly themed roller coaster is a prime example of theming elevating a good roller coaster into an incredible attraction. Replacing the beloved dueling dragons, which even after being rethemed into the Harry Potter universe, once it lost its dueling ability, it became a shell of its former self. Hagrid stepped up to the plate and hit a grand slam with an incredibly complex, yet extremely well themed and executed roller coaster. You begin with a quick launch to enter the Forbidden Forest, past a huge Hagrid animatronic, zoom around more theming and landscaping before hitting your first surprise of the layout, a backwards section. Most guests likely did not realize they went right over a switch track where, hidden by fog, you go up into a spike and come flying back down after losing power. You reverse into Devil's Snare, where your second surprise of the layout brings you onto a drop track, where you then launch to 50 miles an hour. While it doesn't sound that fast, the finale at the speed, sticking low to the ground, makes you feel like you're traveling way faster than you anticipate. Hagrid's Magical Creature Motorbike Adventure is such a fantastic journey, bringing the ever-popular Harry Potter IP alive and making Hogsmeade an even bigger destination than it was originally when it opened in 2010. One final note, Hagrid's is an absolutely amazing night ride, where it will always be my tradition to close out the park after an amazing day at Islands Adventure on this incredibly unique coaster. Starting the top 15 is one of the most iconic roller coasters ever built, and for over a decade was my favorite roller coaster of all time, Millennium Force at the incredible Cedar Point. Born in the middle of the coaster wars that its red brother across the park kicked off, Millennium Force topped the charts for years in quality, bringing in the Golden Ticket Award for Best Steel Coaster more times than I can count. It may no longer be my all-time favorite coaster anymore, but I am someone who will defend the world's first Giga Coaster for still being one of the best rides you can get 25 years later. Starting off with a lightning-fast cable lift up to a mind-numbing and stunning view 310 feet up. In the back row, that first drop is extremely elite, with the massive long trains giving violent ejector as you plummet down 300 feet to the ground. Immediately after hitting 93 miles an hour, you gray out as you pin to the bottom of your seat at a 122-degree turn, and pick your feet back up as you fly down towards the ground into a tunnel. You rise up into a massive camelback that gives fantastic floater airtime in the back row. The only section of ride in the insane 6,595 feet of track I don't love is the high banking turns around Millennium Island. Nevertheless, it is still a blast as you haul ass before heading back towards the station. Another airtime hill gives amazing floater airtime, one more tunnel, and one of my favorite moments of the ride is the speed hill right as you blast past the station, which always gives a fantastic pop of airtime. While it does not top the charts for me anymore more due to riding some truly next level thrill machines, Millennium Force is still a must ride anytime I'm at Cedar Point, and I cannot wait to see all the improvements she is getting for her 25th anniversary season this year. Might have her climbing up a few spots the next time we do this list. For number 14, we just head right up the point to one of the greatest coaster layouts ever built, Maverick. Standing at an unimpressive 105 feet tall, Maverick sticks low to the ground and gives one of the wildest rides out there. Focusing on rapid fire transitions as well as delivering powerful airtime, Maverick sets the standard on wowing you with its layout rather than its stats. Starting with a fast LSM launch lift hill up 105 feet and flying down a 95-degree drop back to the ground. In the back row, this is one of the best ejector moments I've ever experienced, and this is one of my favorite first drops of all time. Immediately taking a hard right into a canyon and rapidly switching from side to side, Maverick quickly shows you that it has a lot more bite to its bark. You rise up into a very powerful ejector airtime hill, into some fun, but compared to how relentless the rest of the layout is, some graceful back-to-back corkscrews. The first half ends with you coming to a near stop into a tunnel where if you didn't know any better, you would think the coaster was already over. However, this is when you hit a powerful LSM launch, getting up to 70 miles an hour and blasting out of a tunnel. Over a lake, under the first drop, hitting an amazing stangle dive, one more final airtime hill, and hitting the brakes. Maverick is truly relentless with its incredibly innovative layout. I cannot ever get enough of this phenomenal Intamin Blitz coaster. For lucky number 13 is a roller coaster that truly blew me away the first time I rode it last year. This tiny, almost fairgrounds looking park decided to swing for the fences, call up RMC to build one of the greatest roller coasters ever built, Arie Force One. I cannot emphasize enough how bizarre it is to have this large RMC powerhouse built at a park mainly known for their go-karts, but I'm so glad it exists. Starting up with a rise up to 154 feet, down an 83-degree first drop, you get going quickly with some amazing ejector airtime in the back row. Rise up into a truss dive with borderline too much speed, into a small speed hill, and into one of, if not the best hang time moment of all time with Arie Force One's signature stall. Rise up into an outer bank turn that reminds me so much of my favorite coaster element of all time. Hit a double up into an airtime hill into a blazing fast inversion nicknamed the Arcade Roll. Hit a second 0G roll and hit the quad down that is truly testing your endurance with extremely powerful airtime as a grand finale. I cannot fathom how amazing it is to ride Arie Force One, and especially being able to lap it thanks to typically having very short lines. I hope to make a quick trip back to Atlanta soon to get tons of laps on, in my opinion, one of the best coasters out there. From one world-class coaster being in an unexpected location to another, we head back up to Pennsylvania's Knoebels for the Golden Ticket Award winner for the best wooden coaster, Phoenix. On paper, this coaster doesn't seem all that special, only standing 78 feet tall and hitting 45 miles an hour. However, what it does with the little speed it needs is truly something special. I have no idea how the physics of this works on keeping its passengers safely in the ride vehicle, but the buzz bars on Phoenix make this ride honestly terrifying and feel like you're going to fly out of the restraints. Sit in the back row and you will get some of the best airtime of your life, with Phoenix already being profiled to maximize airtime. But when you are literally flying out of your seat on the hills, this 78-year-old wooden coaster raises up to world-class levels. Each little hill you hit just sends you flying into those buzz bars. This double down especially gives violent airtime, with this one last hill before the break sending you into those buzz bars one last time, making you fear for your life as it feels like you're about to be separated from the train. Overall, while Phoenix does not take my top spot as my favorite wooden coaster of all time, this glass smooth Woody deserves all the praise it receives, and I cannot wait to get back to the middle of the Pennsylvania mountains to lap this one-of-a-kind roller coaster. Just barely missing the top 10 is a coaster that on its own is a fantastic ride, but the theming around it elevates it to world class, Taron at Phantasialand. I am still dumbfounded that this exists at a family-owned park in Germany rather than somewhere with much bigger pockets such as Universal or Disney. The theming around this fictional town of Klugheim is some of the best in the world, with rockwork that looks like you are in the middle of Norway, with a village that was constructed on actual volcanic rock, and a roller coaster just happens to be built around it. You cannot really tell where this coaster is going as it winds around everywhere you look. In fact, it sets the record for the most amount of crosses of its own track at 116 times. You start off with a punchy launch to get things going as you make big sweeping turns around the rockwork, go over some fantastic ejector airtime hills, and dive into tunnels. After flying through buildings and under bridges, you hit the second launch, getting up to 72 miles an hour as you fly close enough to a waterfall to feel the mist on your face. Just like Maverick, you never get too far off the ground as you are more focusing on hitting quick directional turns as well as hitting airtime moments that wow you. It's hard to tell where you're going to next on Taron, and while the layout isn't quite as aggressive or impressive as Maverick's, Taron gets the edge thanks to the best in the world level theming and having only a lap bar. Cracking into the top 10 is a coaster that at the time of release has only operated for 8 days, and I was lucky enough to be there on some of those days to get 3 rides in. Top Thrill 2 at Cedar Point. Regardless of the disastrous 2024 season where Cedar Point and Zamperla tried and failed to get the attraction up and running again, where they had to send the trains back to Italy to get repaired, Top Thrill 2 is an incredible roller coaster that outdoes its predecessor in every single aspect, except for one. The one being the very first motion, where the first launch is pretty weak, but it's just getting the party started. After getting a rollback halfway up the top hat, going 101 miles an hour backwards is an insane and out of control feeling that truly does feel unnatural. Heading up the massive 420 foot tall spike gives incredible airtime as well, and seeing Power Tower shrink below you really puts in perspective how massive this coaster really is. You fly back down and hit the final launch, hitting 120 miles an hour, and head up the top hat, flying over with ejector airtime way faster than the original, and spiraling back down to earth, ending one of the most intense and insane experience I've ever had on any roller coaster. At the time of riding, Top Thrill 2 has been testing constantly, with signs all pointing to an on-time opening for 2025, and I cannot personally wait to see the redemption year 2025 will be for this amazing and massive roller coaster. Heading back to Orlando is what many consider to be their #1 coaster. And while it doesn't hit that stride quite as high for myself, Velocicoaster is an incredible ride from start to finish. While not as elaborate as Hagrid's just a few hundred yards away, Velocicoaster does have some outstanding theming while focusing more on the thrill department. The Raptor animatronics are so incredibly lifelike, along with the other great effects you find in line while waiting to board your next-gen Intamin trains through the Raptor pads. Starting with a decent launch up to 50 miles an hour, past a waterfall, you get things going quickly. You fly past some raptors and in and out of some rockwork while feeling in control so far. Filled with a few inversions and moments of ejector airtime, the first half of Velocicoaster is really good. However, I do find the second half of the coaster far outshines the first half and elevates this coaster into god tier status. Once you go into your rolling launch, you fly up to 70 miles an hour up into a large top hat, giving fantastic ejector airtime as you plummet back down. Hit a huge stall over the walkway, take a right-hand turn back over the same walkway where you do 2 laps hitting multiple wave turns and high-speed directional turns. You have 2 more elements between you and the finish line. First, a decent airtime hill that leads into the greatest inversion ever built, the Mosasaurus roll. You invert like a 0G roll, but manage to get ejector airtime at the same time as you feel like you can touch the water down below you. There is a reason Velocicoaster is hyped up big time, and while there are a few other coasters in front of it in my rankings, the near perfect roller coaster is one of the many reasons why Island Adventure is the best park in Florida. Our next entry will likely be a hot take for those who have ridden both, but Toutatis at Parc Astrix is just a hair better than Velocicoaster. Another Intamin multi-launch coaster, Toutatis and Velocicoaster do share a lot of the same design language. However, Toutatis does get the slight edge thanks to the innovative and amazing swing launch track section. But we will get into more into why that makes the coaster great in a little bit. Where Toutatis has a ton of other amazing elements that really elevate this coaster into one of the best in the world. Beginning with the incredible theming, the station alone looks like it's tunneled into a hill. Right out of the station, you hit the first launch that gets into an amazing hang time element. Hit a few positive airtime before entering the star of the show, the swing launch section. Using a high-speed track switch, you pass by the spike and hit more launches, where Intamin profiled into airtime hills, giving that unique feeling of accelerating while getting airtime. You stall out on the top hat much like Top Thrill 2's and head back the way you came, accelerating again towards a 162 foot tall spike, giving fantastic floater airtime as gravity takes over before your final pass into the swing launch. With each pass through, you get stronger and stronger pops of airtime until you're flying towards the top hat, just barely making it over and hitting the third and final act of the coaster. After flying down a 101-degree drop, you hit a stall reminiscent of Velocicoasters, giving a few seconds of glorious hang time. Hit an airtime hill profile to give an incredible pop of ejector airtime, and hit a 0G roll over the cube before hitting the final brakes. Intamin knocked it out of the park, delivering a long experience while also packing in tons of moments of airtime, bringing, in my opinion, Intamin's best coaster. From number 7 on, every single one of these attractions is an example of a perfect 10 out of 10 ride. There is nothing I can think to improve on, as they are prime examples of my top 1% of my portfolio of over 700 rides I've been on around the world. Without further ado, is my all-time favorite wooden coaster, the incredible Voyage at Holiday World. Back in 2006, Holiday World built what I can only consider what happens when you don't really care about your budget too much. Lasting an insane 6,442 feet of track, the Voyage is a prime example of a roller coaster lasting just about the perfect amount of time, lasting 1 minute and 39 seconds of prime ride time. Starting off with a massive lift hill going 163 feet up and flying down, you begin the first section filled with massive airtime hills reminiscent of B&M hypercoasters. To maximize the profiling and get the most airtime possible, Holiday World dug out 5 tunnels to keep the pacing to the maximum. You take your momentum as you're slowly climbing a hill, but need to spin around with possibly the greatest turnaround section on any roller coaster, the Spaghetti Bowl. The Voyage takes its ongoing momentum to zip around the Indiana forest, giving tons of pops of airtime along the way, along with 90-degree turns to make sure you can get the train turning in the small of a radius as possible. You finally feel like you're losing steam as you hit the mid-course brake run. However, you are 90 feet above the station thanks to the terrain, and it's time to head back down the hill. You begin with a triple down in the dark of a tunnel, hitting pops of airtime with each passing hill, emerging into a Sidewinder section next to the massive airtime hills you were just over a minute before. The train begins to feel out of control as you fly over the station, into 2 final tunnels, and finally hitting the brakes. The Voyage is a masterpiece, filled with amazing floater airtime, and makes you guess where you're going to be going next. I cannot believe that this massive pile of wood exists at a family-run park in the middle of nowhere, Indiana. But maybe when you don't have corporations trying to maximize every dollar, you can afford to build something truly special just because you want to. From one family-owned park back to my favorite park of all time, their most recent addition is something that is so incredibly well themed you would think it's at a Disney or Universal park. FLY, or Fly at Phantasialand. Outside of Flight of Fear, this is the best example of a nod of track as you have this masterfully engineered roller coaster from Vekoma flying over you everywhere you look. Steam is billowing out as Rookburg feels alive around you. Fly itself is such a phenomenal ride to not only look at, but to straddle in as the closest to mimicking self-powered flying you'll likely ever get. Plaguing most flying coasters up to now, while the experience was always incredible, the capacity issues of getting a human safely into the flying position efficiently was always a struggle for many manufacturers. Vekoma's third attempt is one of the most ingenious designs, with rides sitting into the normal seating position while then rotating into the flying position just before launch. Beginning with the launch, you start to wind all the way around this amazing steampunk land as you fly high and swing low over guests below you and get close to the incredible theming surrounding you. What is shocking is a few moments where you hit pops of airtime while in the flying position. Fly is a complete package of mastering what it's trying to do, along with delivering a decently thrilling ride, but nothing too crazy, and giving some of the best theming you'll find anywhere. Fly is an experience where, thanks to no official POV from the park itself, and the extremely strict no loose articles policy, makes it hard to envision what it's like to experience Vekoma's next take on flight. Getting into the top 5, and we have one of the greatest dark rides ever built even 30 years after its opening. Indiana Jones and the Temple of the Forbidden Eye. I cannot believe how even 3 decades later, this attraction is still top-notch, with incredible theming and an innovative ride system. Beginning with the very elaborate themed queue, you feel as if you're going deeper into something you're not supposed to be in. You finally reach your jeeps will make it feel like you're going over extreme terrain. However, the actual track is smooth, and the ingenious hydraulic system on the jeeps simulates the off-road experience you might expect inside a temple that doesn't have the intentions of letting you leave alive. The Temple of the Forbidden Eye is not only thrilling, but like many Disney attractions, has a story to explain why you're putting yourself in so much peril. Indy needs assistance funding the expedition and allows for tourists to attempt to get their riches inside the Temple of Mara, with a catch with you not looking into her eyes. Of course, someone in your Jeep always looks, and all hell will break loose as you are now needing to escape the temple with Indy. The set pieces are so well themed, with tons of practical and digital effects surrounding you. The rooms go from massive to claustrophobic as you attempt to get out with your lives, ending with a signature finale attempting to rescue Indiana with a boulder rolling towards you to end your journey. Indiana Jones and the Temple of the Forbidden Eye is a technological marvel, as well as portraying a story perfectly, where 30 years later, Imagineers delivered one of the greatest attractions of all time. Number 4 brings us to an absolute masterpiece in engineering with the relentless and insane Fury 325. Winning the Golden Ticket Award every year since 2016, B&M truly gave it their all when designing this incredible roller coaster. You start with a quick but massive climb up to the world's tallest lift hill at 325 feet, then dropping an insane 320 feet, reaching 95 miles an hour at the bottom. The drop truly goes on forever and is profiled so well. You have floater airtime for multiple seconds before you need to level out at the bottom. You turn left briefly, then climb up 190 feet and quickly snap right at the top, giving incredible airtime on the outer seats. As you pick up speed again, you begin to snap back and forth, with each snap giving amazing and powerful airtime in such a strange but welcoming way. Fury is one of a handful of coasters out there that truly makes me feel like I'm gonna fly out of the damn thing, making it so incredibly thrilling. As you blaze past the park entrance, you climb up into one of the greatest turnarounds ever made, the treble clef, where you get some sideways airtime in all rows, but especially in the front. After diving down, you hit an airtime hill giving ejector airtime, something you don't expect to find on a B&M, which are more known to give floater airtime. The only levity of intensity is this massive helix wrapped around the second hill, where this one pillar looks like it's going to decapitate you if you're not paying attention. You get a few more doses of ejector airtime on the final 2 hills, and then you hit the brakes. Fury 325 is perfect and something you cannot get enough of. Take it from me, as I managed to get 28 laps in one day just a few weeks ago. I could not get enough of one of the greatest roller coasters ever constructed. Entering the top 3 is one of the best non-coaster attractions ever built, which uses a ride mechanism that typically does not wow me. But thanks to the incredible execution, Flight of Passage comes very close to taking the top spot on this list. The entire land of Pandora is incredible, with some of the best theming and landscaping found in the theme park industry. Flight of Passage as an overall package helps elevate its ranking to the stratosphere. With most attractions, this is typically the worst part. However, Disney knew you were going to be spending a ton of time in their queue, so might as well give you something to look at. The lab alone has so many incredible things to see. The pre-show is kinda corny, but I kinda like it for the sole reason you are being briefed by a nerdy scientist on how you're going to be taking part in something so special for the people on the moon of Pandora. Riding a Banshee. Once you are linked to your Banshee, you take flight diving off a tree where you can literally feel the Banshee breathing between your legs. You fly out over exploring the beautiful moon with its lush vegetation, incredible landscape, and tons of wildlife. Pandora's oceans come alive too, with marine creatures and massive waves leading you to and encountering a massive Banshee diving you into a cave for safety. Up until this point, Flight of Passage was a nice scenic ride around the moon. However, once James Horner's iconic score revs up showing the moon's beauty, you're in for one very special finale. From the calming cave scene onwards is where this attraction truly earns its ranking. As I alluded to, it is shocking having Simulator be one of the top rides around the world, but with the combination of incredible immersion, execution, theming, and overall ambiance, Flight of Passage makes it worth the almost guaranteed massive line this attraction brings. The silver medal recipient heads back to roller coasters for my personal top-ranked coaster, the incredible masterpiece delivered by RMC to the wonderful Cedar Point, Steel Vengeance. At the time of riding, I have managed to ride 10 of RMC's incredible creations, but so far, none of them are able to top my first RMC. The ride is absolutely insane, filled with literally the most airtime on a roller coaster in the world, where you spend 27.2 seconds of your 88-second and over a mile journey out of your seat, where almost all of it is violent ejector, where it feels like Alan Schilke's objective was to make it feel like you're not going to make it back to the station. You start off with probably the loudest lift hill in the world as you climb up 205 feet overlooking the amazing views of Lake Erie, and then you plummet back down 90 degrees, 200 feet, hitting 74 miles an hour to begin your insane journey. The first half of Steel Vengeance is filled with massive elements designed to elongate that addictive feeling of airtime out as long as possible. The Outer Bank turn, filled with 5 seconds of powerful ejector airtime, might actually be my favorite coaster element of all time. After spending more time out of your seat than in it, you barrel towards the first of 4 inversions, RMC's incredible zero-G rolls. As you find on many of their other creations, these inversions are so incredibly smooth, with also delivering tons of whip. You double back, heading back towards the mid-course brake run, providing a much-needed few seconds of levity before beginning the second portion of this masterful ride. Instead of big elements like you find in the first half, Steel Vengeance now spends the rest of its track getting smaller and delivering more surprises the riders won't see coming, especially once you dive into the massive wooden structure, hitting wave turns, pops of airtime, and 2 more inversions. As you approach the finale of small airtime hills, your legs are screaming as they might be bruised thanks to the abundant and extremely powerful airtime you have been subjecting yourself for over the last 88 seconds. As I approach 250 different roller coasters from around the world that I have ridden, I can only think of a handful that potentially have the chance to dethrone this incredible ride. It will be fun to see if any of these other highly regarded thrill machines will match up to the pure power Steel Vengeance delivers. So if a 205-foot tall intense speed machine filled with literally the most airtime in the world couldn't snag the #1 spot, what could possibly be better? For me, it's an insanely immersive and story-driven ride experience only Walt Disney Imagineers could deliver. Star Wars Rise of the Resistance. Just like Flight of Passage, the entire package elevates this attraction to incredible heights, but to an even larger degree. Like almost all top-tier Universal and Disney attractions, the theming surrounding the ride is top-notch. However, what elevates Rise of the Resistance from any of the other rides I've been on around the world, the experience begins not once you board your ride vehicle, but way before in the pre-show. Many attractions have a pre-show to set the story, and the first one with Rey and BB-8 seems to fit the standard mold you would expect from Disney. However, once you are briefed, you are escorted to a transport shuttle filled with an incredibly lifelike Mon Calamari animatronic. As you leave the planet of Batuu, you are intercepted by the First Order and head into a Star Destroyer and forced into an incredibly massive hangar. It is truly awe-inspiring seeing something this convincing that looks like you are planted directly into a Star Wars film. The First Order cast members are trained to be pretty stern with you as you are moved into prison cells, awaiting interrogation from Kylo Ren. Before that happens, the Resistance breaks you out of your cell, and finally, after all this, you board your ride vehicle. The immersion keeps going stronger as you head out onto your transport vehicle, attempting to escape the Star Destroyer. After being spotted, you are up and close and personal to something any Star Wars fan would have never dreamed of seeing in person. AT-ATs towering above you. After being spotted again, but this time by Kylo Ren, the chase is on as you are fleeing for your life through the Star Destroyer in the middle of a battle with the Resistance. All seems over as Kylo Ren has trapped you, where you escape with one of the coolest effects found on an attraction. One final surprise as you board an escape pod and literally drop down as you make your way back to Batuu. Star Wars Rise of the Resistance is something that truly needs to be experienced firsthand, that no video can portray. Unlike Steel Vengeance, there are maybe 1 or 2 attractions out there I can think of that can dethrone this masterpiece. However, Universal bringing out the big guns in Epic Universe makes me think there is a possibility one of them can match Rise of the Resistance. I guess we'll just have to wait and see, and maybe if I get down later this year, maybe something at Epic Universe can match or even dethrone this masterpiece. Well, that's a wrap on a pair of videos that took way too long to produce, but what do you think of my top 50 rides? Is there anything I shafted, need to get on, or simply rated way too high? Let me know in the comments. And if you're new here, consider subscribing as we go into fun ranking videos like this, vlogs, reviews, and tons more around the theme and amusement park industry. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.